Hello and welcome to year 2 of me running the Crisis Protocol release calendar and new figures list on Board Game Geek. I want to thank everybody for keeping it updated with me, like providing things like updates on the organized play kits and such when I don't keep that as updated as I possibly or probably should. But here is the November 20th, 2020 to the November 20th, 2021 CP number order releases as I've painted them. So again, thank you for everybody for keeping up on the list with me, keeping interactive and keeping involved. It's pretty nice to have something to do like that. So hope you all enjoy and use the calendar still, and hopefully the shipping issues and such that have plagued us for over a year now get resolved and we can all get back to playing and collecting. And don't put drinks on your box. First up, we have the delayed Angela and Enchantress, which finally came out in the U.S. and I got to paint up. I was pretty happy with how Enchantress came out. Angela is kind of a character I was about, so I just threw some color on her. As you could tell with the CP28 Angela and Enchantress, the wind decided that the outside light, while good, is not possible right now. Anyway, here's CP33. This is Dormammu. I am really happy with how he turned out. Just finished painting him up last night, actually. And that's November 18th, or 17th, actually. But spent about 3 days doing him and his base. Just wanted to do something a little different than black and gray rocks. And all in all, he turned out really well, in my opinion. But maybe my opinion's a little biased. Here's CP34, Black Bolt and Medusa. They actually turned out pretty well. Her hair doesn't look this bright and, like, I don't know, gooey or whatever it looks like in real life. It's a little bit darker, has some more defined lines. I guess it's just the lighting from the phone. And did I call Angela and Enchantress CP26 or 28? Either way, it's 28 for Angela and Enchantress. And here is CP35, Crystal and Lockjaw. Now, I actually had a lot of trouble with Crystal. I still have a lot of trouble with faces. And I got so mad at the first attempt that I did at her. I tried to strip the paint off of her head with various things, and it didn't work out to the point where I actually destroyed her head and melted it, so I had to buy another figure. But yeah, happy with the second result. That's Crystal and Lockjaw. Next up is CP36, the New York City Apartment Terrain Kit. It comes with various small things. I forego using pigeons on the models that I've painted so far, so I haven't painted up any of the pigeons, but I saved them for something. But the little fire hydrants that came with it, I actually painted up, and made a mistake on that one. I painted them up. I know all the different colored tops of fire hydrants actually mean something, but the only one I remember is that purple means non-potable water. But each color means something in certain cities or regions. I actually got 3 of these kits, so I could do different size buildings. The first, I just did a first-story building, and I made it the Nelson and Murdoch Attorneys at Law building. Just a 1-story. Tried to make it look dingy, a little bit older. And when I was painting these up, I really realized I should probably invest in an airbrush, because all these buildings are brush painted, and there's spots where it shows where I was just like, please, finish. But yeah, especially the tall red one. The second building, I did a 2-story blue one, and I made a mistake on this one, and it's going to haunt me every time it's on the table, but to people who don't build the kits and stuff, it might not be as noticeable. I put the garage door under the front of the building, which bothers me. I went with the billboard sticker-ish thing, not really a sticker, that they sent along with the kit, but I meant to have the Josie's bar on the front-hand side, but went with some blue dirty-ish bricks for the second one. And then I did the red one, which I've been always wanting to go back and maybe paint these, like the trimming and stuff, gray or something around the windows. But I just used all the rest of the stories to make a bit of a taller skyscraper, customized some of the windows, took one of the extra billboards and actually glued it to the side of the building, made a little planter's box, some AC units. Now, you can't really tell, well, maybe a little bit on the video. That says Mutant and Proud. I tried to do a little bit of graffiti, not freehanding's not really my thing. This was actually inspired by the Hulk gang of kids from the Immortal Hulk comic book. They had the Hulk smash graffiti on one of the covers. Don't remember which one it is at the moment. But then going up the back side of the building, and then this side, I took all the fire escapes from each kit and made my own door frame up here. And I went with this billboard, which is just a printed picture found off the internet. And here's the roof, which took a little bit of time, but obviously not enough time because there's splotches and mistakes everywhere. But hey, looks great while it's on the table and action is happening around it. Overall, I'm happy with the apartment kit. I really like it. I am considering getting more because it's just cool to have a city. I almost forgot I actually didn't glue that one on, so some games it can be off. And here's CP37, Amazing Spider-Man and Black Cat. Black Cat, I was just relatively uninspired by the character, so just a quick and kind of sloppy paint job on her. But Amazing Spider-Man, I actually had a lot more fun painting up. I kind of went on a little bit of a inspired by his black and red suit from Spider-Man Far From Home, but I went with the gold for the eyes and the spider symbol just because I haven't really seen that. But that was a little bit of Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, and had a lot of fun painting him up. Just, it was neat to have freedom to do a little bit something different with my Spider-Man, because I don't really like buying multiples of the same figure or customizing bases and stuff, which I know a lot of people think the Black Cat pose is kind of lame. But yeah, pretty neat set. Here's CP38. This is Captain America and War Machine. I'm really glad they went with the minigun on War Machine. I just prefer hardware to the software or the lasers and all that. Just looks a lot cooler to me. He was a lot of fun to paint up with the Falcon Captain America, or Sam Wilson Captain America. I differentiated him from my Steve Rogers by having a blue outside ring on the shield. Looks pretty neat when it's on the table next to each other. Here's CP39, my somewhat cross-eyed She-Hulk. Just cannot paint eyes or faces very well. Overall, it was a lot of fun painting her up just because I decided to go completely off the wall with her costume colors. She's pretty cool, and she works well on the table. And here is CP45, Deadpool, Bob, Agent of Hydra, and the taco truck. I did not go with any of the silly options for Deadpool or Bob or anything. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the swoosh or the chef's hat or anything. But I had a little bit of fun painting them up. I did not like painting up the taco truck. For some reason, I just get bored with some of the terrain. The truck itself isn't bad. I just was not inspired by anything. But yeah, not a bad set. And I'm going to say it now, but I didn't want to say, doesn't look bad on the table, because I've realized I've said on the table already way too many times for this video. CP46, Mister Sinister. Now, him I liked. He was neat to paint up, but I like this character because growing up I had like three or four possible figures. Well, they weren't possible figures, they were figures. I had 3 or 4, they were about a foot tall, maybe 2 feet tall action figures. I had the Hulk first, that's like one of the first toys I've ever had. And then I had Silver Surfer, War Machine, and Mister Sinister. It's a little bit of an odd collection of characters, but for some reason it shaped those characters as being some of my favorites growing up. Now, while not actually Marvel Crisis Protocol, I still have that Hulk that I've had since I was under 5 years old. Has a lot of paint marks on him from slapping against Spider-Man figure and Mister Sinister and all those other figures. My brother had Spider-Man, so naturally fighting occurred. Here is CP47, Cable and Domino. Domino was another figure I was relatively uninspired to paint, so just a quick paint job on that figure. Turned out alright. But Cable, I had a lot of fun painting. He's probably one of the best eyes I've ever painted, which can't focus in, but I got his eye. It was a lot of fun painting him up. He's a really cool figure, a neat sculpt, and Cable's just awesome. CP48, Blade and Moon Knight. Now, Moon Knight I know looks messy, but this has been like 2 months of me not painting anything, and he was the first one I jumped back into. And I painted up Blade shortly after him, which I had a lot of fun with Blade. He's just a cool sculpt. And I know a lot of people don't like the ghostly hands or demon hands or zombie hands or whatever you want to call it, but I thought they were pretty neat. So I painted those up in a nice bluish, foggy color. CP49, Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Now these are some characters I thought I was just utterly going to mess up on because there's just a lot of open faces, or there's a lot of open parts on their faces and chest with little tattoo details and stuff. But I was proud of myself with how I ended up painting the figures. Not a bad little set here. CP50, Mysterio and Carnage. Now these two are personal accomplishments for me. I really think I did a great job in my skills, which, as still amateurish as they are, it was a lot of really happy moments for me when these figures turned out the way they did. I went with the claw arms rather than the axe arm on Carnage. And Mysterio, I went with a liquid chrome pen for his dome. And I do not remember quite how I did the smoke, but I know it was some pink and some contrast paints and stuff. All in all, just really cool. CP53, Jean Grey and Cassandra Nova. Jean Grey is cool. Cassandra Nova, I have no idea who this character is. Most of the time when an MCU movie is coming out or some new movie is coming out, I like to read the Marvel Encyclopedia and kind of pretend that I knew all along what these characters were about and stuff. This character, just, no thanks. I think it's like Professor X's clone sister or something. I don't know. Something to do with Sentinels. And as usual, the noise in the background is brought to you by my cat Dormammu, who apparently is having issues with me making a video, growling and running around and zooming all over the place. CP54, Omega Red. Really cool figure. I tried to freehand a hammer and sickle on the sewer grate or whatever that thing is called, manhole cover, and it didn't turn out so well. Turned out alright though. CP58, Lizard and Kraven. Sorry about the focus here, but Lizard was kind of cool. Went with a dirty-ish sewer water theme. Actually used a lot of my garbage detritus that comes with the bases. Here's Kraven. Painted him up with some like macaw feathers on his spear tip. He was a pretty cool figure. Freehanded some spots on his pants. Another one that I was proud of how I did on it. Face isn't too bad. A lot of fun. CP61, Sin and Viper. Had a little more fun painting up Sin than I thought I would. Viper, I don't know what happened here. Her forehead extends all the way back to her ear. Just kind of a sloppy paint job altogether. Do I even want it to go into focus? CP63, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. Not too much to say about these. Relatively simple to paint up. Scarlet Witch a little fiddly to build. And that is the November 20th, 2020 to November 20th, 2021 U.S.CP order release dates, or release of the figures and stuff. This is my current storage setup. It really needs to evolve. So hopefully by next year I'll have something a little better. I like the little shot glass display for the figures. Need some more taller ones though, because the figures have spilled out onto this really old shelf that could also be replaced. But thanks for watching the video, thanks for keeping up on the thread, and thanks for being part of the gaming community and the hobby community. I hope that, if nothing else, this has inspired somebody to paint up their collection. As they say on the streams for Atomic Mass Games, is love your plateau, reach where you're happy with your painting skills. Don't compare your skills to someone else, because that will usually lead to disappointment. I've finally stopped assuming that I can paint the way that some of these guys paint their figures, and I'm really happy with where I am with how I paint them. I like the nice bright colors. That's why I make all my bases for figures different colors. It just evokes that comic book feel of bright colors to me. So yeah, hopefully I will see you again in 2022.